Hello, friends. How is it going? I hope everybody had a good holiday and a happy new year. Hope nobody's struggling through everything. So, just a little quick look at things that I'm working on. We got Sylvanas back here, big convoy, quick strike. We got the Galvatron there. We got the new Eternia Tila back there. Got the new Memorial Dino Buckler. Um, but today I wanted to do a video talking about things and stuff and things. Um, and while doing that, I might work on my Victory Leo because I got the parts and pieces that I needed. So I have a missile that is now launched somewhere. There we go. We got the missile, and I found a replacement piece for his broken landing gear. It's a little discolored. It's kind of hard to tell here in the light, but it's a little yellowed, but it'll be fine. Anyway, here recently I reviewed the new Studio Series Soundwave. And in that review, I said that he's an amazing figure, but he pisses me off. And I was going to come back and talk about why he pissed me off so much. And a lot of that really has to do with sort of the state of the toy industry right now, as well as some of the choices being made, things being done that I'm not that big of a fan on. That grays on there is discolored. I'm going to take that wheel. Anyway, so for those that don't know, the toy industry right now is really hurting. You may not realize that it's really hurting, but it is actually hurting quite a bit. Tariffs are a part of that, but realistically, the cost of manufacturing toys has been skyrocketing now for several years. Um, and it's not something that's quite an easy fix. It's not so much as some people like to think, where they think you can just, start manufacturing here in the States and that would solve all the problems. And it doesn't. It really actually doesn't. There's actually the guy who's in charge of Valaverse. He's actually posted quite a few videos talking about this very subject. So if I can link one of his videos in the description, I will do so, as that would make things a little bit easier than me trying to explain it here. But suffice to say, COVID also really decimated the toy industry. And as a result, to keep the toy industry alive, they've been banking on collectors and have been really, uh, you know, closing in on the collector market. And the thing is, that's not really sustainable for the long-term health of toys in general. They really can't, you know, only cater to us, weird, overgrown adult kids and hope to survive in the long term. Um, but that is currently what they're trying to do. And it's definitely had an effect on what stores are carrying, what we're seeing getting released. And it's a little stiff in there. I'm going to put some shock oil down in there. Shock oil. It's a lubricant that's made just for toys and models and RC vehicles. Really good stuff. Just a little drop usually goes a very long way in solving a lot of friction problems, especially on these older figures. Boom. But anyway, because of that, that's why we're seeing constant increase in toy costs, but also not so much increase in toy value. And for guys like me who have limited budget and limited space, that's kind of a really big deal. Can be very, very detrimental overall to, my wallet and my sanity and what I can and cannot get. Because of that, I have to be very, very choosy. And generally what I've been doing when it comes to newer toys, If there's something new coming out that's a new neat version of an older figure, then I will usually sell said older figure, unless it's something like really old, like a G1 figure, in order to have the money and the room for the newer figures. Um, and that's not really viable anymore. So, and this really did start with Siege as far as the Transformers are concerned. So, for those who weren't here or weren't aware of what happened with Siege, Siege was made sort of like this prequel to G1. Not the first time they made a prequel to G1, as the War for Cybertron game was originally intended to be a prequel to G1 until it got repurposed to be prequel to Transformers Prime, with the follow-up game, The Fall of Cybertron. I got the toy hack stickers for this guy. Anyway, so what ended up happening is that, they made these really cool pre-G1 but G1-esque versions of some of the Transformers, and they were really cool. Some of them were very, very cool. But then they just stopped and decided to just go back to doing straight G1, giving us a lot of the same figures that they had just given us. And then some of those figures were just sort of minor retools like Ironhide and Ratchet. But then they turned around and immediately gave us new molds, completely new molds, instead of just retool molds for those same figures the very next year. And in case of Soundwave, we had a Siege Soundwave. And then the next year we had that Walmart exclusive Netflix Soundwave where he was retooled to turn into his cassette player. And then, if you were lucky enough to get one of those figures, which I was, you were then hit with the fact that that figure immediately started yellowing right out of the box. So then they come around and release a new version of that same Soundwave with his cassettes and fix the yellowing and slightly better paint job, and yay, everybody's happy. And at that time, we had already heard the rumors that there was going to be a new Studio Series Soundwave. Now, at the time, anytime that there was anything Studio Series that was based off of Transformers the movie, it was just a re-release of what we had already gotten in Kingdom and Earthrise and in Siege. And the rumor was that he was going to be a new mold, but anytime the question was asked, it was kind of dodged and made it seem like we were just going to get, reissues. So I am one of those people who took it as gospel that Soundwave was just going to be a reissue of what we had already gotten. But nope, the rumors were true. It was a new mold. So in the span of 4 years, we got 4 different versions of the same G1 Soundwave, each one an improvement over the last. And that hurts because, one, I can't really sell that Soundwave to compensate buying the new Soundwave because most people that are buying that Soundwave are trying to do the same thing. And I've had a lot of friends who were Star Wars collectors who got out of collecting Star Wars. Now, a handful of them, the reason they gave was, Star Wars sucks now, blah, 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 woke, bullshit, things like that. But most of them quit collecting Star Wars for the sole reason that every couple of months there's a new, better Darth Vader, as what one person had said to me. Now, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but you kind of get the idea. They keep re-releasing all the same figures, slightly better than the last one, making you need to go and buy the new one. And some people get excited for that. They get excited for the new updated version. And I'm guilty of that too. If you saw my Devastator review, I was very excited for that. But in the case of that Devastator, it's been quite a few years since we've gotten a Devastator. Whereas, again, like the Soundwave, it's been every year. Now, I didn't buy into the Earthrise Seekers outside of the Coneheads because I felt them to be inferior to the Seed Seekers. But now we also now have more G1 Seekers coming, which are better. And that's going to sting a little bit less for me, but it's kind of the same principle. And in the past, whenever we had new versions of some of the same characters, they weren't just the same G1 character because there was always a new show coming out, new designs, even new characters or new takes on old characters. And we don't really have that now. Like we have the Earthrise cartoon, which just came to an end. And I will say that I think that was a great show overall. Some of the characters were kind of dumb, but we got entirely new characters, new takes on characters, new designs. But we're not really seeing anything studio series for those. We're just seeing the really dumbed down, cheap, almost knockoff feeling toys made for the kids. And again, the toy market is suffering. They can't really put good, quick, expensive toys out there for the kids because the kids aren't really interested. They're in Roblox and they're in Minecraft, and that's where they're staying. Um, which is why it's not that surprising when you hear the CEO of Hasbro saying we're transitioning into a gaming company. But I kind of feel like that's kind of a death knell for some brands. Like, I don't think Transformers is going away anytime soon, but you're going to find more and more people are going to be like, I just can't keep doing this if I'm just going to keep buying this new same version of Optimus Prime every year and not get anything new to show for it or any new versions. And honestly, that current Cyberverse show is pretty shit. Just saying that right now. That's pretty shit. I don't think the Japanese show, which is kind of similar, I don't think it's that much better, but at least it's a new idea with some new, side characters with the combining gimmick. Um, so yeah, and that's why I was saying that that figure actually pissed me off. And I know that there's more coming like it in the pipeline, especially now that the previous guy who was responsible for Transformers is back and he's like diehard G1. I believe he's the gentleman that said Beast Wars was a mistake. But the thing is, when you look at some of the figures that have come out that are entirely new or older figures getting redone, some of those have been the best figures. I stand by my belief that the 13 primes have been absolutely solid, amazing figures. And I hated Armada. And I think that new Armada Optimus Prime is one of the best figures they've released in years. And some of these new remake Beast Wars figures are fantastic. And the thing is, Beast Wars was some people's G1. Armada was some people's G1. You have entire legions of fans that came in these eras, and they're starting just now to get some representation, but they're just getting a little bit. And that's also tied to what's going on in media. They're able to start pumping out Beast Wars because the Rise of the Beast movie happened. And they're able to tie that in to convince stores, hey, you should buy this stuff because the collectors are going to be after it right now since, the Beast movie. And kids will be interested in it too because of the Beast movie. Same thing with the 13 primes. Are able to do that because of Transformers 1, including the 13 primes. Same argument. So going forward, obviously I have to be super picky, but I'm a G1er, so of course I'm going to pick up a bunch of these G1 figures. But I feel like the more we have of these just reissuing the same characters over and over again, with slightly better molds, getting us to buy the same thing over and over again, it is going to be a detriment, both to the health of the line, to my sanity as well as what I'm actually buying and us reviewing here on the channel. So hey, I may end up picking up my more of my grails here if I can find a good Star Saber. That's money I'm not spending elsewhere. But yeah, that's my whole rant on that. This wasn't scripted. I just sort of thought about this for a few days, what I wanted to say, and this is what I'm saying and why I'm saying it. But yeah, so what do you think? Are you having the same burnout as I am on just the rehash of the same G1 figures over and over again? Is it enough to make you quit the line? It's not making me quit the line yet, but like I said, I've known several toy collectors, specifically Star Wars collectors, who have quit collecting Star Wars for that very reason. Um, so yeah, let me know if you want any more bullshit videos like this, where I'm just talking about toy news and ranting about shit. I do have something coming up with my friend Toy Tony. Obviously, if you haven't heard, there's some big toy news that came out. For me, it came out Christmas Eve, but over the Christmas holidays, we're planning on getting together and talking about that because that's kind of a big deal for both of us. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I am going to be reviewing everything that's here on this table at some point. Again, I have limited time, so basically once a week is about when I am able to do things. So, hey, if there's something on here you see that you think you'd like to see me fumble around with, let me know. Most votes will be the next one, I think. Although I'm probably going to talk about this one next. Just saying. I've got other things too. I've got the DNA design upgrade kit for the MPG Raiden set, just to name a few things. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. Sorry to piss and moan about bullshit, but sometimes you just got to piss and moan about bullshit. Anyway, y'all have a good one.